evening, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Zahn Education today. Tonight, we have an esteemed panel of industry experts joining us who have graciously given their time to discuss the evolution of technology and materials that would be unveiled at LMT LAB Day Chicago. So I'd like to do a quick who's who on the panel. First, we have Jessica Love. Jessica is a CDT and owner of Captured Dental Arts in Utah. We have Dennis Urban, CDT, Director of Operations and Clinical Education for Microdental. We have Megan Nakanishi, who is the Director of Operations for Nakanishi Dental Laboratory in Washington. We have Min Tran, who is an RDT at Sunrise Dental Laboratory in California and also the creator of Dental Tech Tips. We have Joe Young today, who is the Chief Operations Officer of Young Dental Lab in Philadelphia, and Nicole Jackson, who is the Program Chair and Lead Faculty of the Dental Technician Program at Milwaukee Area Technical College and the NADL's Educator of the Year 2022. And the man who needs no introduction joining us today is Lee Culp, CDT and CEO of Sculpture Studios in North Carolina. I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Fran.
Wonderful to be here.
Thank you. Lee, I'm going to start off with you.
Sure.
Can you give us your perspectives on LMT Chicago and discuss some of the trends, technology, and applications that you've seen through the years and why this meeting is so important to you to attend?
Well, Fran, this is the #1 meeting in North America for dental technicians. So it's almost imperative you've got to be there. And sadly enough, the reason you've got to be there is because a lot of the local meetings have stopped having their meetings. So some of them group together, some of them have just gone away. So this is the one time of year and the one place where you can see everything you want to see in dental laboratory technology that's going to be released. So I think you have to be there.
Absolutely. Everybody agree on that one?
It's a place to be for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hands down, yes.
Lee, would you like to take the first question out to the panel for us?
Yeah. So I've been watching all of these guys' careers, just watching them on social media, lectures and things. So proud to be here and representing Zahn and representing dental technology. So my background is, as long as I know, I've been doing things digitally. So what I'd like to ask the panel is, what are you really most excited about seeing in a new technology or a new material that you think will really drive dental technology forward into our next evolution?
Nicole, how about we start with you?
I think the additive manufacturing space is one that is definitely going to be our next mega trend, where we're going to see, leaps and bounds in terms of growth and potential. Lee, I know I followed a lot of your most recent studies and, speaking engagements, and I know that you're a leader in this space, so it's an honor as well to be in conversation with you on this. And so I'm excited to hear your feedback, and I know we're going to see a lot of unveiling in Chicago for sure, because everybody's holding on to really release things then. So it's going to be wonderful to be there and in that space to be able to see things firsthand. But I think that's definitely going to be where we have another mega trend that's going to hit and going to push us forward leaps and bounds.
Agreed.
Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, well, I have to, add to what Lee was saying. I believe that a lot of my growth and success in the dental business has come from in the dental industry has come from meetings like this.
Yes.
And with digital technology evolving so quickly, I'm looking at a lot of different aspects of digital technology, from removables to implant technology, even crown and bridge and things like that. So I just want to keep up with what's going on, because it's just moving at such a rapid pace. So there's so much excitement going on in Chicago and so many things going on at one time with different meetings, and especially with Lab Day. It's just exciting to be there, and we're definitely going to grow through education at this meeting.
Yes.
How about Min?
So additive is the obvious answer. I mean, that's a very exciting space, but I think the really, really big thing, and you see it in, just general technology, is artificial intelligence and automation. So, Chat GPT is, huge. You hear about it all day long, but, artificial intelligence in dentistry is going to be huge. It's going to change and
Yep.
augment the way that we do everything. Automation, I think, is really going to fill those gaps and holes that we have in our manufacturing and, labor shortages that we're experiencing. So I think just keep an eye out for a lot of those automation and artificial intelligence companies that may be debuting.
Megan, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with everybody, what they've said. I think one area that I'd be interested to see more of and more innovation in our industry is on the customer facing side. So looking at ways that we can be more efficient for our customers. Are there lab management softwares that are offering customer portals that make it super easy to check on the status of your case? Can there be ways for us to streamline the way we receive files so that it's super simple? The minute they call you saying, hey, did you get my scan? Oh my God, what scanner did you send it through? Okay, let me check the,
Yep.
So innovation on the customer facing side, I think would be something that's very necessary for us moving into, this next generation of what we do.
Yeah. Great points. Great points.
Jessica.
Oh, I love the additive. That's been an area we've been working to help evolve over the last year and a half. But just so many new techniques. This year is really jam-packed with a ton of great lectures. I'm bringing some of my team here so that we can really divide and conquer. But the 3Shape updates, like different software, we have ExoCAD 3Shape and InLab. What are the updates with the software? So a lot of my team, we're going to divide and conquer to see like the AI, what's updated, how can we streamline our digital flow with some of the new tips and tricks that the software has. And then of course, what 3D printed technology is coming out, because I know there's a lot of companies that are looking forward to the Chicago meeting to rebuild some things or at least brainstorm some new ideas. Yeah.
Sure.
And Joe.
Yeah, just like Lee and Dennis had mentioned, I mean, this is the meeting of the year to be. I personally haven't been since 2019. So I'm really excited to get back into the meeting and seeing what the trade show has to offer and all the courses, of course. And just like Nicole and Jessica had mentioned, and even Ming, we have some awesome new resin materials. Something I'm really excited to see is maybe some resins that are the ceramic filled. And to Megan's point, I mean, these types of materials are revolutionary, not just for our customers, but certainly an opportunity and potentially a risk or a threat, depending on how you see it, on providing exceptional restorations in a quick turnaround, right? So those are the type of things that I'm looking for.
Awesome. Lee, any thoughts on how the panel answered your question?
No, I think they did wonderful. And I agree. So my main research, everything we're doing is in printed materials, printed ceramics, evolution 1, and already working on evolutions 2 and 3. In a little article I wrote for LMT, but I did say, and kind of put the stipulation, this is just day 1. We've got a lot of things to do and look at, but I think our first entry into printed ceramics is exciting. I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Great. So now I'm going to go into some questions, individual questions, and please, let's, have a nice dialogue if we can, of course. I'll start with you, Nicole, if that's okay. So you're really a pioneer in education. I mean, being NADL's Educator of the Year in 2022, we're so proud of you for that. What are you looking to bring back to your students to get them excited about being part of this great industry of laboratory technology? And how has this meeting helped you shape your curriculum over the years?
So thank you, Fran. I'm completely honored to be recognized as an NADL Educator of 2022. And it's amazing to be a leader in this space. I've been in industry for over 20 years. So to now be on the educational aspect and to be able to give back and connect in that way is truly a gift. And again, I'm very thankful for that. In terms of leadership in that space, the responsibility that comes with that is really being on the evolutionary curve to, look where the industry is going and to anticipate those changes and then to bring that back, into the curriculum and into the experiences for the students. So really with that, I'm looking to, again, stretch the fabric in our partnerships, really grow the potential for like those engagements and experiences for students, and then really using that information to evolve and change our curriculum to be able to, again, provide students with the experiences, the training, and the formal education that's going to support not only a foundation for them when they graduate, but also allow them to platform and take their businesses into aspects where they really want to specialize after.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go next to you, Joe, if that's okay. So you're the Chief Operations Officer for Young Dental Laboratory in Philly, and I'm sure you're always looking for ways to like streamline your workflows and lab processes, not only to keep your lab profitable while decreasing the turnaround time, you mentioned that before, but also to put out a superior product. As a full service laboratory, how are you doing that? And how could attending LMT Chicago be instrumental in implementing like new strategies that maybe you're thinking about putting into the lab?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Fran. Well, we continuously look forward to more or better ways to be efficient and productive. And we do this by either cross-training our technicians to help with other tasks in other departments. We offer piecework for overtime. And we also maximize our digital outsourcing resources, right? So if you can't handle the capacity internally, you can certainly utilize all of those things after hours, right?
Right.
And certainly attending LMT Chicago is instrumental in exploring all of these new equipments and technologies that help us improve our efficiencies and be more productive, and certainly increase our capacity and maybe even reduce some material waste. So those are things that I look forward to.
Great. Nin, you recently made the move from Canada to California. How's that going?
It's a little bit warmer.
Yeah. You've joined forces with John Wilson at Sunrise Dental Lab, and you're well known to be an early adopter of emerging digital technologies. So being in Chicago, what are you looking for to continue to bring new innovation to Sunrise?
So it's funny because, you know, we're both really digital guys and you know, we lead with that as our strong suit. And it's funny enough, I'm actually staring at something out of the corner of my eye that's going to be unveiled in Chicago. So I can't say anything about it, but that's going to be super exciting. But there's a lot of new and exciting things that a lot of companies wait until Chicago to unveil, because, you know, that's the show. This is the Super Bowl of, you know, dental laboratory technology in North America. So it's just a wonderful place to be. You get to see all the new and exciting things and what the trends are going to be. So anybody go in there, make sure you hit the exhibit floor, go speak to the vendors, go see everybody, and just make sure you scope everything out.
Absolutely. And you said Super Bowl, and I just want to come out there and say, Joe, I'm very sorry. Very sorry.
So close.
So close, but you had a great time, right? We'll let everybody know you were there enjoying the festivities, and it was probably, you know, something that you'll always remember. So that's awesome.
Yes, I brought my son, so he had a great time.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the win right there.
That's it.
There it is. You know, got the experience, and
It wasn't so much for me. So.
Well, Megan, I want to come over to you now. Thank you for joining us. So you're the Director of Operations for a trend-setting laboratory. Could you describe to us how you plan on evaluating the latest on what would be your wish list? Like, what do you hope to see?
Good question. You know, I love looking at all the different technology when it comes to the way we produce our products, of course, just like everybody here. So the 3D printing, the milling, new materials, all that good stuff. But as I hinted to at the beginning, I really am looking for ways that we can simplify what we do and simplify it for our customers. I think that's technology is moving so rapidly, and it's incumbent on us as lab owners to really stay on top of it so that we can be a resource to our dental clients. I mean, I truly believe that. And I want dentists to rely on us heavily. So for me, it's really about simplifying all these new products and technologies, understanding why they want a 3D printed denture, you know, and making it in really simple terms that, you know, make sense for them and for their businesses. So technology that helps us simplify that message or helps us simplify the way we deliver our products, that's the stuff that we're looking at. But I think when I'm walking around the show floor and evaluating the different, you know, new software or equipment, whatever it might be, we're really looking at this is kind of an old school thing, but the better, faster, cheaper model, except I look at it as, is it making us better? Is it making us faster? And can it make us more profitable? I mean, come on, guys, let's not forget about, we got businesses to run here. So can this technology make us more profitable? And if that means it helps us scale our existing technical staff, if it helps us, be able to produce at higher efficiencies, those are the kind of things that I'm definitely looking for.
Mhm.
So material management systems, what about that? Look
Absolutely.
into that as well, to where you can streamline, like,
That's a good example, Fran.
Right, that-
Inventory management software. I know there's some good stuff out there with Symbis, and to be able to help us be more efficient with the products and utilize less staff in the way that we manage our inventory. Stuff like that is what gets me excited these days.
That's awesome. Dennis, I'm going to come over to you because you're also director of operations for Microdental. Are those the kind of things that you're looking for as well? I know you also do clinical education, but
Yeah.
on the operations side.
Well, yeah, to add what Megan was saying, we do technology evaluation, looking at product predictability, quality assurance, and patient acceptance are there, and they're all key factors in these. And you mentioned software earlier, and software is constantly changing and being updated, and we're always looking for these positive changes to help us in case planning, production, and material management. And to add what Megan said about inventory software technology, come a long way with that. And that's going to help us really improve the running of our businesses too. So that's a big factor there.
And with such an ever-changing landscape in digital technology, Dennis, and 3D printing, combined with Micro's firmly established foothold in so many sectors of the business, how do you select innovations to increase Microdental's offerings to your clinicians for ongoing expansion of the business?
Well, we select offerings that will keep us in line with product predictability and quality and patient acceptance. But we work closely with proven, reputable manufacturers and that adhere to strict regulatory guidelines. Also, that's really important. And through education, and collaboration with our clinicians, that's a big factor too, because we can learn from them and evaluate what the perfect solution is for both patients and dentists and the whole production team. So all those aspects come into play in the success of that, of the laboratory.
Megan.
I love that term, Dennis, product predictability.
Yeah.
What is that? It sounds like a buzzword that I want to start using.
I tell you, a lot of my lectures, I talk about predictability case after case, and it has to do with the right materials, the right techniques, and the proper case planning. And that's how you get predictability. So
I love that. Okay. Do I have to source you if I use that?
Sure, you could use it. No problem.
Just put little footnotes or whatever. So, Jessica, I want to congratulate you on your grand opening of your new lab, which is now a dental health and beauty center. Can you explain a little bit about that and what kind of things that you and your team are going to be looking for to expand on what your clinicians' offerings are, being that you are a health and beauty center now?
Yeah, dental technicians, we like to overcomplicate our life. So I definitely added more to my plate. I partnered with a client that's a dentist, and we opened a dental clinic and education center in our new laboratory. So I've been taking on all the responsibilities of opening a new clinic. So that's been fun to see how it works from the clinical side. But we also teamed up with integrated functional medicine practitioners to see how we can dive into oral health and link it to disease within the body. So that has been something that has been a dream of mine for over 2 years, but oral health really is the gateway to our body. And dentists can do so much more with their oral evaluations every 6 months to prevent breakdown within the body's overall health. So we're doing a lot of research on the functional medicine side, like I said. So I'm kind of going into the health route a little bit, but also streamlining our processes from how do we take it from a patient in the chair, from an intraoral scan, all the way into the laboratory with efficiency. And of course, I specialize in cosmetics and smile design. So how do we get printed temps? Like, how can we design printed temporaries and streamline some of the new software so we can do that more efficiently and enhance the way temporaries look? that's really a trick. I think a lot of you know that we do beautiful diagnostic wax ups, get it into the dentist's hands, and what they do with the temps sometimes does not look like what we created on the lab side. So how can we utilize the software more efficiently, and then also printed technology to deliver quality aesthetics from temps all the way through the final. So yeah, it's been an exciting year for us.
That's amazing. Love it. You know, Min, I wanted to just bring something over to you. We talk about educating our clinical team on really what the proper findings are that we need to have in order to get the restoration that you want to be able to produce to get back to that doctor. So that's something that I believe that you do a lot of lecturing on, as far as like photography and different findings and scanning and all of that. How important is that in the education of actually teaching your clinical team?
Well, it's exactly what you said. It's a team approach, right? And there's no such thing as too much data. That's the one thing I always tell my clients is, you know what, take more scans, take more photos, take as much data as you can. If you can give us a CBCT, we'll take it, because that gives us more points of data that we can correlate together, and then we're able to get a more predictable end result. So that's part number one. But number two is communication. You know, you really have to have that mutual respect between you and the client, and they have to trust you that you're able to produce on whatever they're giving to you. So it's both, it's really a team effort, and you really have to work with your clinicians to make sure that everything you're getting in photos, which is what I'm going to be speaking about for Zon on Saturday. Photography is, you know, a passion of mine. I have millions of cameras all over the place. But yeah, I just love speaking about that. But getting good photos is not just for pretty pictures. It's also an excellent way of getting amazing data to make your shade matching much more predictable.
So I'm just going to throw this out to the panel. When coming back from Chicago Lab Day, you get excited about something and you want to now bring this into your laboratory, and you want to start incorporating a new, let's say, workflow. But now you have to make sure that your clinical team is interested in now offering that right to their patients, whether it be a 3D printed denture. You know, I'm hearing a lot about printed permanent crowns as well now with different resins that are out there. How would you go about coming back from a show like this, being all excited? What would you do to speak to your clinical team about it? Do you take them in? Do you send emails? Like, how do you communicate like what you've learned to be able to now then offer it as an offering to your team and then to the patient after?
I think this is a really good question. Do you guys bring your teams from the lab to Chicago? We've kept it a pretty small group from our laboratory typically, but I'm curious to see, you know, like Joe, are you bringing a bunch of people from the lab this year, or?
No, I had one technician that was interested in coming, but it fell through. But I also have two other managers that potentially had the opportunity to, but I just don't think they're comfortable traveling, or they have family obligations, unfortunately, this time. But yeah, otherwise, it's historically we've really haven't had too many. We've gotten to the point now where we can, but in previous years it was just the 5 family members.
Yeah. Do you guys all bring other people from your lab?
So if I could chime in on that, actually, my first time in Chicago was probably 10, 12 years ago now. And I was really young back then, but it was honestly one of the best things I ever did, just for my career, because then, you know, as a technician, you're at the bench, you're kind of riding solo. You don't really know much about besides what you learn inside the lab, whatever your protocols are, whatever the senior technicians are showing you. But you go there, you make friends, you make connections, you learn different techniques, you really pick up so many different things, and it really ignited the passion for me, right? So if you have somebody that is an up and comer in your lab, and, you know, maybe make it an incentive, right? Somebody that meets a certain production goal or performance goal, your reward is a full ride trip to Chicago that year, right? So something that way to really inspire technicians to want to go and encourage them, because it's just been such a great thing for my career to go network, make friends, and learn so much stuff.
Because we learn from each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
actually the best part. You learn much, much more from your peers than you do from the lectures. You know, half the time you're dozing off or you're looking at when you can sneak off to go to a restaurant or a bar. But, you know, you learn so much there with your friends, with your peers, people that, you know, share tips and tricks from the bench, right? So it's just a great all around experience.
Good point, man. I want to add to what Min said too, because, you know, we have a lot of people from our company going, but I think of the dental technicians back in the laboratory. You don't get that opportunity to go to a lot of meetings like this. And, you know, it's, you know, they do the same thing day in and day out. And sometimes they get into a rut. So we really have to come back and give them the latest and exciting technology to sort of spark their careers again, you know, and get them excited about what they're doing and look at the final result, which is patient satisfaction and how we're changing lives. But that has to do a lot with just keeping up with technology. And I believe that, you know, coming back into the lab, talking about what we learned and saw in Chicago, a meeting like Chicago and Lab Day, would really get them interested in building their careers, you know. So and it keeps us on the edge too of what we're doing. Yeah, so it's real important.
I mean, honestly, without the education and the lectures in a venue like this, I mean, how would people really be able to see things right in front of their face, like if there was no such thing as Lab Day Chicago or the other, you know, events that we have that go on through the year, but this being the biggest and where we really do unveil a lot. How do you feel that attending the meetings gives the advantage, being that every day, I mean, technology is changing, materials are changing every day, companies are coming out with new resins, one is stronger and better than the other. I mean, how do you feel that going has impacted your career, Nicole?
It has wildly impacted it. You know, I remember one of the first meetings I've gone to, and I mean, gosh, that's, you know, again, about 20 years ago, I had gone when I was first a student and then continued to go every year because I saw such a residual investment and an effect from the knowledge of being there firsthand. There's no exchange for that, or, you know, alternate for that firsthand education and knowledge, and being able to, again, just being able to connect with technicians and hear that first-based, you know, personal experience with that. I think that you really get to glean a lot, you know, and again, just like the honesty that comes from the personal reflection of either having a positive experience with something or maybe bypassing it and looking at another area of opportunity.
Lee, I want to know, how would you measure 2023 against innovation of the past? How do you think 2023's innovation is going to look like coming out of this meeting?
Two things we've touched on. One was Min talking about AI. So there is a lot of work going on with AI. We're working on two projects that actually support one of the other things that we're talking about, which is additive manufacturing. So there are still areas in printing, 3D printing, that need a lot of work. And we go back to predictability with dentists. So I'm going to use all the words everybody said so far. But AI, what we're looking at in creating is AI software that can interpret and look at the anatomical shapes, because the interesting thing about what we do is everything we do is different. Everything we print or mill is absolutely different. They're never the same, not like other industries. So we're looking to develop AI software that can actually look at the shape of what we're going to print, and then using algorithms to kind of interpret to print it the best, most accurate based on its shape and the materials we're using and the type of printer that you're using. So AI is a big one, and then printing also. So we've been doing a lot of work with printing, with the new ceramics. It'll be interesting to see, because the definition of ceramics is changing a little bit. Ceramics now, with the ADA, printed restorations are now covered under ADA specifications for insurance coverage if it reaches a certain criteria. So a lot of them on the market do, some of them on the market don't. So with this new criteria, I think we're going to see a lot of redevelopment of a lot of these resins, because resins also have a big area, not just for us and every, you know, but anytime I start talking about supporting a clinician and what they're doing in their office, people write and say bad things about me. But in the early days of CEREC, I remember being in the zone room and this one guy almost attacking me for helping CEREC in the early days. But I think it's going to make a big change in the clinics too, as they can print very, very nice restorations in very minimal time with equipment that's a whole lot less expensive than it used to be back when we were milling. So I'm excited for all of that. For me personally, our business is half surgery. So we do surgery literally all day long. So the new surgical softwares that help us and do complete diagnostics. So we're just trying to build our laboratory a little bit farther than just making things. So we've got surgical software for rearranging bones in the skull. We've got surgical software for implants and other things. And then we've got partnerships with several surgical companies. So we'll be looking at any advancements in those areas also.
Wow. Sounds great. Jessica, I just wanted to ask you, since we're talking about resins and 3D printing, you've done a tremendous amount of work with Desktop Health and Flexera. So I wanted to know the benefits that your lab has seen from bringing 3D printing into your laboratory and being to offer that to your clinical teams and then to the patients. Have you seen, a real big benefit by doing that? Have you been able to maybe do more, give more because of the time savings and, how much you can actually get out of like a bottle of resin? How has that benefited your business?
One of my favorite things to print is night guards, hands down. When we first started with night guards, when printed technology came out, like I said, we've seen a lot of failures in a few months, but with the new technology, we use the Envision One that has the oxygen inhibition layer similar to carbon. That has been our favorite for night guards. Like the only reason we have a night guard come back is because it was designed on a model that maybe is too loose or inaccuracies with the alginate impression that they took. So night guards are just easy. Like if you're not printing night guards, it's very satisfying. I love printing temporaries and they just look beautiful. They fit great. We use them for a lot of full upper arch temporaries or smile design. And I feel like we're cheating with 3D printed technology. I'm sure some of you feel the same way because it used to be so much work to create these. And since I do get to work chairside with our patients, the ability to customize Flexera chairside is awesome. I can add this material and light cure direct in the mouth or, direct to these restorations and modify and change this shape very quickly, which is really nice because to try to modify temporaries with their temp resin, it doesn't work well. If you've ever tried it, it hardens too fast. But this light curable resin that we're printing with, you can easily with an Explorer reshape this material and cure it chairside and change the shape of their temporaries very quick. So printed temporaries and night guards have just really simplified our process. We print a lot of flippers. You can do some really awesome stuff with flippers. We printed some vampire teeth flippers over Halloween. So the technology just has so many new possibilities. Yeah, we really enjoy the way 3D printing has advanced, and I'm excited. We do some printed dentures. I'm still working on aesthetics because our traditional dentures, what we can do by hand, I still love a little bit better, but I know it's improving and the software is improving. We're testing putting the little veining in the printed resin right now so we can make it look more like the processed dentures, the traditional processed dentures. So yeah.
I was just going to ask the panel, how do you feel about aesthetics with 3D printed removables at this point? Are you hoping that the company is going to come out with something that's a little bit better and unveiling here in Chicago? Nicole, if you want to.
Absolutely, for sure. I think that's only a material that we're going to see continue to evolve and change. And again, provide better and better opportunities for aesthetics. I think that there's been a lot of strength factors that have even grown, as was mentioned. And so definitely for sure, I know we're going to see the continuation of that evolution, which is exciting to be a part of.
Absolutely. I love the repeatability of 3D printing. And I think that's something that, you know, having an STL file and be able to, you know, reprint a denture instead of, you know, having to be a denture that have to be sent out and things of that nature, it's just going to make it so much easier on the patient. So I really like that aspect of 3D printing.
I'm so glad that Jessica brought up the printing flippers, because that has just changed our life. I mean, if all of you guys on this call are not printing flippers, holy cow, you need to do it. They're amazing. They're fast. They fit beautiful. They're awesome. Patients love them. You can do them so fast. And now we actually get patients or customers who are annoyed if we do one traditionally, because if the patient loses it, they're like, well, now you have to start from scratch. I'm like, I know. So it's awesome. We love it. And
it's great.
Right. And I agree with Nicole, the materials just continue to evolve. The new Densify IPN printable material is beautiful. And I don't know if it's just the library that changed that made it so beautiful, but it looks great. We're just, yeah, we have a great time. We do a lot of dentures, a lot of flippers with that material.
Yeah, all their libraries are available with the IPM. So that's really cool. I mean, I went and I actually got to print my own denture and cure it and, you know, set the teeth and everything. I felt so important after that. It was so.
Are you wearing it right now?
No, I'm not, but I can go get it.
I just want to add to something that Jessica was saying about, you know, characterization of the denture base. You know, over the years, that was my specialty, just denture base staining, characterization. And yeah, I still take a lot of pride in doing that. And even with characterized wax ups. And so I had to kind of change my thoughts a little bit when it came to digital technology. But with the printed dentures, I mean, we could do so much with denture-based staining, also with the technologies that's out there with different materials, and you can make those dentures really look nice and aesthetic, you know. So, yeah, it took me a little while to get off the fence there, you know, and get into the digital aspect of with denture bases and accepting what we could do with them now. And we've come a long way, we really have. I mean, if you asked me about printed denture technology 3 or 4 years ago, I would go, I don't know about that. You know, really, you know, there wasn't a high impact material. It wasn't aesthetic. It attracted bacteria. Now it's aesthetic. It's strong. It looks great. You know, and it's a great product. So
I think to add to that too, you know, a lot of the courses, this Chicago midwinter meeting, focus on how to capture the information accurately and translate that into digital with dentures, which is important, from the wax rim to gathering that information into the software and designing it and simplifying some of those steps, to adding character with the designing tools in the software. Like Dennis said, you know, learning how to customize that gingiva in the digital software, even if it's one printed color, if you can learn how to characterize it in the software, it can look more natural. That definitely enhances the appearance of it.
And also with the software in designing bite splints and night guards, you know, there's so much science behind that for bite splint therapy, and we're able to do that with the technology now in the software. You know, with cuspid exclusion, building ramps, and just having a predictable, here's my word again, predictable bite splint. You know, and that really works out really well with this material that we have now. You know.
Well, I'll say too, Dennis, I didn't mean to jump in over you. I was going to say the success and strategies too with post-processing and being able to share feedback, you know, to show better values of consistencies. That's another area too, where, you know, that consistency supports, the predictability supports.
Wait, so Jessica and Megan, since you guys, I'm waiting for my new printer to arrive. And so I could utilize some of these new materials and resins. I'm just curious, because I haven't done them yet. When you're printing these flippers, is it completely monolithic in like a 2-shade? What about the palatal plate? And what about if you have to add some like C-clasps or ball clasps?
We print everything in the gingiva base and then the tooth separate. So that way we can customize the tooth, and then we can modify whatever color tissue base we want. And since we have 2 printers, it's so fast to print. So we're printing base on one, tooth on the other. But with these flippers, you know, the technology is so awesome that we can just mirror. If you're doing a single central flipper, you can tell the software to mirror the other central, where traditionally by hand to find the denture tooth, contour it down and fit it into these things was such a pain. But really, you know, if you print the tissue base, the pink color and the tooth color, then, you know, I have seen some people print the clasps when the clasps are on a tooth, print them in a tooth color. and that can blend. So positioning of class can determine where if you're printing it out of the pink gingiva or tooth color. And the clasps do need to stay rounded. So there's some great tutorials on YouTube on printing flippers. I know we saved one on our computer here to teach our team, but the clasps do need to be thicker. But since they are flexible, you can get into undercuts, which is awesome, because traditional acrylic, you can't get into undercuts. You need to go into metal clasps or a different option, but you can get into some of these undercuts with flippers. Yeah.
Interesting. Megan, you're doing the same thing?
Yep, same thing. And in fact, we get a lot of calls saying, hey, we didn't need a fancy flexible partial. We just needed an acrylic temporary partial. We're like, no, that's what this is. So yeah, we're able to eliminate and save time and money on some of the route wire clasps. If we do need to add metal clasps, though, we can add those after the fact. We just kind of grind it out and refill it with some of the material and cure it again. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
Great, thank you.
One other little trick too I'll add is just cutting out windows for surrounding teeth. That has been such an incredible option with these flippers, because sometimes you get someone with 3 teeth on the lower and they just want a partial, right? And how do we get retention around those lower anteriors? So just creating a window to insert over those teeth with these flexible materials has been a great option as well. Yeah.
A great tip, thank you.
Lee, this is what Chicago Lab Day is all about, right? We're learning from each other, and this is what happens when we're there together. So this is just, a great example of what this is like. So I'm so excited about, getting there and all of us being able to learn from each other. So there is going to be a ton of education, and there'll be a ton of education in the Grand Ballrooms E F as well. How do you decide, by looking at all the education, like what you're going to do? Where are you going to go? What education a lot of you are presenters, so, but if you're out there, like what advice would you give somebody who's like a first timer? It's overwhelming, right? What would you say to them as far as how
So
to
I'll
navigate?
chime in there. So LMT, obviously, they send a lot of email blasts out, and they have on their website, register ahead, and they plan out your day basically for you, right? So you just go in there, click on whichever courses interest you, register for those, and that lets the organizers and the speakers know how full their rooms are as well. And then they'll email you essentially what your schedule is, and what you can over register as well. And you still got to kind of pick and choose, but obviously reading the descriptions, reading the titles, making sure it's subjects that are really, really interesting and will deliver value to you. That's how I did it in the past, take the magazine, walk around and, see which ones are coming up next. And nowadays you can have it on your phone, and it makes things a little bit easier. Digital technology makes everything easier.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely does.
I think the challenge this year, Fran, is there are so many good classes. Like, so many of you are presenting. There's so many great topics that I want to attend them all. And it was I had a hard time trying to figure out what classes I'm attending. So I'm bringing some of my teams, like I said, so we can divide and conquer. I would highly suggest bringing teams or friends, or getting some feedback from other people that attended some of those different classes, because there is a really good lineup. There's a lot of great speakers and great topics this year.
Yeah, I kind of changed my technique this year and going to courses, and I started asking our dentists what they're most interested in, and are they going to Chicago? And a lot of them were telling me that they would love to see Lab Day, go to Lab Day. So I'm actually going to attend a few lectures with some of our dentist accounts. So and I think that's going to just add to you're going to see a lot of collaboration there between dentists and dental technicians, between the McCormick Center and Lab Day. So there's a lot of dentists telling me, hey, I want to check out Lab Day. I want to see what they have to offer. So I reached out and extended the invitation to a few of the doctors, and they said, sure, I'd love to go to some of these seminars with you. So so who's ever lecturing, be careful not to kid around about dentists and their lecturers, because they're going to be a lot there, I believe, which is great.
Yeah, I would think so. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, now I just want to bring out some fun facts. I'm sure everybody who's listening would just love to know a little bit about you guys. And when you go to Lab Day, Chicago, year after year, where you frequent, where you like to go, where you definitely don't want to go home without visiting. So I'm going to start with you, Jessica.
I love to go to the Kingston Mines Blues Club, if any of you have been there. I just love the traditional Chicago blues music. Kingston Mines. I'm learning as I'm getting old, don't sit too close to the front. I don't know if it's my ears are super sensitive. So if you have sensitive ears, move towards the back. But there is an incredible female singer that comes out there and plays the guitar, and she can play blues like no other. So I love Chicago. I love their history and I love their blues. So that's usually a must if you're new to Chicago or have never checked it out before. But that's one of my favorite places to go at least once when I'm there.
And what's the name of it again, Jessica?
Kingston Mines Blues Club. Yeah.
I'll be there Friday night, Jessica, so you should come.
Yeah, last time I went and sat up front and my ears were, I think they're all getting older too, the musicians. So the sound is just going up every year, but I've learned don't sit in the front.
Yeah. A little further back. Dennis, can you tell us the name of a great place to relax and maybe have a cigar?
Sure. Yep. That's one of my fortes. I love having a cigar, having a drink, and just relaxing. But I just want to add something to what Jessica said. As far as blues clubs, I love going to Buddy Guy's place and blues club, and I go there every year. And every year I've gone there, I've met Buddy Guy. He walked around and said hello, and some great blues music there too. So, but as far as cigars go, there's two places I love. One of them is called Iwan Reese. It's on Wabash, and the other one is the Biggs Mansion on Dearborn. And Iwan Reese, they charge $25 to get in, and it's bring your own bottle, and it's really relaxing, great selection of cigars, and it's really cool. And the Biggs Mansion is free, but you have to buy about $35 or $40 worth of cigars. So both are really cool places to just go and relax and just have camaraderie and good conversation. And also recommend a few great wine bars. One is J9 on Halstead, and also the Eno at the Intercontinental Hotel right across the street from the Marriott. So some great places to go and relax.
Thank you.
You're gonna text us all these places, Dennis? I want all these names.
Oh yeah, I pretty much go every year, so I'll text you those names. Yep.
Min, how about where you would say the best deep dish pizza is?
So Chicago is a foodie city and everything is very walkable. There's amazing food all over the place. But actually last year we did something really fun. We call it the Chicago Triple Crown Challenge. So we hit up Lou Malnati's for deep dish pizza. We go to Portillo's for their hot dogs, Chicago style hot dogs. And then right underneath Lou Malnati's there's the cheeseburger place. So we went and got some cheeseburgers all in one night. So if you can complete all three, that's the Chicago Triple Crown.
Nice.
I like it.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
Joe, how about what is your favorite sports bar?
Sports bar. Now you're talking my language. But no, it's not a sports bar, but obviously I hope to see all of you at the big bar right there at the Hyatt. But I really enjoy rooftop bars. And Dennis and Megan will attest to this. There's a place called Roof that's on the top of the Witt Hotel. And right across the street from that is a place called Raised at the Renaissance Hotel as well. They're both rooftop bars, and it opens up open air. And it's just a great place to relax and listen to some music and have a few drinks and talk shop, right?
Nice.
Good recommendations, Joe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Megan, I was thinking when I thought of you, where would be the one place you would want to shop on Michigan Avenue before coming back to Washington?
Oh man, so my favorite jewelry store, designer is David Yurman, and he has a shop in Chicago. I don't know if it's on Michigan Avenue. I think I had to take a cab last time I was there, but I don't think my boyfriend is on here, but I was also thinking, we've been dating for 4 years, so maybe like a ring shop or something.
Yeah.
So there's like a Harry Winston on Michigan Avenue that we could stop
Nice.
at. I don't know. So we'll see. Yeah, cross our fingers, guys. Pray
Yeah,
for
we're all rooting for you.
you. Thanks.
Nicole, when in Chicago, where would you say would be the best place to have a good dessert?
Honestly, anywhere. Min listed off like my top 3 faves, right? And we can always find a great dessert option. Like that's one thing. And just try to share it with somebody new, right? So I'll say I don't have like a go-to spot. Min hit all 3 that, like I said, are my faves, but just one thing I always try to do is, again, just find a new experience with someone a little bit different. And again, everybody in this panel, I hope to share dessert with you in Chicago sometime over the next week, right? And so I would say anywhere you can find something good.
Awesome. And Lee, what is the one place that you visited in Chicago before heading home? Could be any place, but what is the one place?
So I'm going to do the same thing. So first, to go back in time a little bit. So my number one favorite thing to do during the Chicago midwinter was go to Charlie Trotter's. I mean, we went literally every year until Charlie passed. It was one of the top restaurants on the planet. And we would go and just have the most wonderful time with whoever we were taking. I remember the first time I was much younger. So, they started ordering wine, and I won't even tell you what the bill was at the end of the night. But I'm looking at my fifth, and I'm like, are you kidding? Serious? And then we went every year after that. So that used to be my favorite before Charlie Trotter passed away. Then I have to go with Jessica down to the blues place, blues, and just to go listen to blues and scotch one evening and just relax before you leave. I'm a happy person.
That's awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you all at Lab Day Chicago. Just going to let you know a little bit about what Zahn has to offer. This year, we are back in the Grand Ballroom E F, and we have some amazing lectures and some amazing table clinics for everybody to enjoy. And really, we have noticed that our registrations are through the roof. And
Great.
I believe it's because of the great presenters that we have for us. So I just want to thank everybody in advance for relying on us for their education needs. Our ballroom is set up completely different this year. It's very unique. It's set up in complete workflows. So it would be really interesting to see. So I'm hoping that everybody takes advantage and comes to our ballroom. And this isn't just a showroom, this is going to be an experience. And that's what we want to offer you. We have all of our financial experts there, all of our customer support staff is there, our technical support is there, along with our great salespeople. So any questions that you have, we are there to answer for you. And we just look forward to a very successful and very informative show. So I just want to thank my panelists for tonight. You guys are wonderful. And all of us at Zahn really appreciate you, really giving us your time tonight, your expertise and your perspective on what this meeting means to you and what you hope to see. So again, can't wait to see you all in Chicago. I hope you all have a safe trip, and definitely come look me up in the glass classroom. Thank you all so much.
Definitely will.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
I
you
would
so much.
encourage everyone to register for your class, because sometimes the classes fill up and people are disappointed when you can't get in. So if you really want to go to something, check and see if there's a limit to that room and register beforehand. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you in
Good night,
Chicago.
See you
soon.
soon.
Appreciate it.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Fran.